Hillsong Creative Podcast, where we hear from creative experts, influencers, dreamers, and doers what they've learned and what we can learn from their journey as we explore, respond, and create.
Hello to everybody who's listening. I have Taya and JD from Hillsong United with me. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
So we're here at Colour Conference, and by the time people hear this, though, the new United album, People, will be released.
Yes.
Right now, we're full of anticipation.
Yeah.
I presume you guys are even more.
Absolutely. And it's kind of been fun. We've been, you're listening and this is past the release date of April 24 or 26. Either one, it comes out there. It doesn't matter. It's out. But we've been kind of slow releasing the songs. And it's probably been the quickest turnaround from the moment we recorded it to the first time people could actually access the song was, I think, 3 weeks or something.
Yeah.
And, normally it can be months from when you've recorded it to when it comes out. And so the funnest thing is being able to experience these songs so quickly and kind of drip feeding it. We released 4 songs before the album actually properly came out. So, we're super excited and pumped of the kind of the new season it actually represents for us.
Yeah. It was pretty fun. So we recorded it at Worship and Creative Conference.
Yes.
And I think even for all of us who were at the conference to be able to experience the live recording, because it's been a long time since United have recorded live.
Oh,
yes.
The last one was live in Miami?
Yeah, so that was 8 years ago. And that was kind of just like more of a recording a bit of a tour night, but doing a proper album or brand new songs. Yeah, it's been over 10 years, I think.
Yeah. And so then we all sang them then, and then we've been singing them in church or some of the songs, but to be able to have it in your car and at home and all the time, I think that'll be actually pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Okay, but we've got a bit of a special
I love how
a special episode. I'm pretty pumped
if
about
you're
this
listening,
today.
you probably can't see. Rich is rubbing his hands together like he's about to eat like a good steak or
We've
a
never done-
hamburger
And
or a kale salad, depending on your
Depending
choice
on who
of
you
diet.
are.
Yeah.
No, we've never done anything quite like this. So we asked our listeners, the podcast listeners, to write in questions for you guys. And so we've got a whole bunch of questions. And I thought we'd do like almost like a 20 questions, really quick answers. And I brought my buzzer, which is the thing I'm most pumped about.
Literally the most exciting podcast because we've got a buzzer.
Yeah, so that if you get a bit boring and we need to move on, we'll just, catch you off. Or
That's
if, if...
You got to have thick skin to be interviewed in this podcast.
That's right, it's hard hitting.
Listen,
Look,
I'm in.
When I said boring, I meant...
Boring.
Yeah. All right, so they're pretty great questions, I must admit. We will just go for it and see how we go.
Okay.
All right, so short answers, be as direct as you can.
Okay.
And if I have to buzz you off, then
It was too long.
it was too long. All right, first question. This one. Who should I ask? This is from Zeno.
Love that.
And Zeno asks, can I please have some tips on leading a song that is new to the congregation? For me, what comes to mind might be, for example, Good Grace. You've got the new United album, you want to lead Good Grace, what do you do?
I would say you would bet it around well-known songs that are loved within church, open with an absolute banger as like a praise song, and then maybe introduce it second. So you've already welcomed everyone, people trust you, and then you're putting the new song around, or even like introduce it as a third song. So the people are already in, there's 2 familiar songs they've already known, then you hit with the third. And because it is like I didn't write it so I can say it, an amazing song. It's grabs people, it's faith building. So people will grab onto it as well. And then you bring it home with another faith building song that people know.
I was nearly going to buzz, but no, that was so good.
I'm kind of hoping we hear the buzzer a lot.
So, JD, I guess going off the back of that, how do you make sure that you're kind of ready to bring a song like that?
I would say for starters, you can't practice it enough. Obviously, when we are in our services or gatherings, that we only have a limited amount of rehearsal time, and so I think that even to maximise that, it starts with a huge emphasis on every player, every singer, making sure they come knowing the song. The more you know it, the more comfortable, the more confident you can be. And to be honest, I think when it comes to leading our congregations or leading people, confidence is key. And if you're someone like me, that doesn't come naturally. And I think that one of the biggest ways we can help our confidence is simply being prepared. And so I would really encourage that. But then also going off what Taya said, leading new songs can be daunting. And I think you got to understand what type of songs they are. If there's a slow slow song, that maybe takes a while to build. And I think there is always scope to be able to actually tell whoever you're singing it to, hey guys, this is a new song, and it kind of relaxes everyone and gives people the opportunity to, hey, I'm allowed to take this in and not have to sing it straight away, and or even give context, whether it's a quick scripture that's the heart of the song. Yeah. But then a song like Good Grace, I think that you can just, it's more anthemic. It's very congregational.
No, that was great. I was just doing that for fun.
I've been waiting for the buzzer. I'm glad I was the first.
I felt like you were talking pretty quick then, just to try and get all your words out.
I could see your thumb going towards the, yes, I was like, bring it on.
No, it's good. I loved what you said. Now, that song, Good Grace, it starts with like people come together, right? And whenever I hear people sing it, it feels like you could be pretty nervous about just that first note. How do you make sure you hit it every time? Do you know what I mean? Because it's like you're out there on your own.
To be honest, I will often hum it in my head just before I step up to the microphone, so I know I'm there.
Yeah.
Because I'm not like Taya. I don't just have this perfect voice.
Oh, I
problem is she knows it. She walks around thinking she's such a good singer.
Let's be honest. There's probably so many times where I haven't hit the first note, but then I think, smile. You're not perfect. We'll never be perfect. And then sometimes people are just like, okay. And they'll just come along the journey with you. Right. So it's okay.
So it's just like people.
Yeah. Well, there's one time there's one time like, I don't know, we didn't come as prepared as we should have. And the lyrics operator wasn't exactly fast enough to preempt. And we kind of bodged one of the songs. And I was like, oh, that's the worst, because it was the first time we introduced it. So we kind of, we were going to finish the song, and I said, you know what, church, like, I'm so sorry. We should have learned the lyrics. It's a new song. It's new for us as well as you. And we're going to sing it again because the chorus is actually amazing and this is what it means. And then
Here's to the One, wasn't it?
But in the city campus. So, yeah.
So real life happens.
And then they just like, I don't know, like you just highlighted the most important part of it. Let's go again. And yeah. Church still sung it, which is awesome.
That's awesome. All right. Got a question here from David. He says, how do you select a set list? You've got a blank page. What do you do?
Man, I actually think it's more of an art than, well, for me anyway, on my journey coming into it as a worship leader, I think the more I do it, the more I realize how actually important a set list can be. Because to be honest, I feel like you can kind of chop your legs off before you even get started if you pick the wrong songs. In saying that, I think one of the greatest things you can do is actually have someone that maybe be a few steps in front of you to help you when it comes to, basically still today, I've been leading worship for almost 20 years. And whenever I write a set list, I will always send it to one of maybe a peer worship leader or one of my oversights, my pastor, whoever's running the service, just to get that feedback, or, and our music director, just to make sure we do get that right set list. But I think, just understanding what a song will bring to a service. And then I think picking the kind of songs that are going to make sure that you take people on a journey and you finish it strong. For us, at least, our goal is always to hand over the service to, at a level of faith and build that kind of atmosphere. So it's all about doing that and really just being intentional about building moments in the service.
And I would just...
Too late. Not really. Go ahead.
I love that. I would echo what Cass Langton has said before, Global Creative Pastor. She's always said we can inquire of the Lord, that we have the Holy Spirit who has the mind of Christ, and we have the Holy Spirit, so we could actually inquire and say, what would you like for Sunday? Is there something, a particular theme, or like just, God, would you drop it in my heart? What is that thing? And I love that we could do that with song lists. I love that as you like pouring through the list, you're like, God, what is the thing? Like he can highlight things. And then, I'm so thankful for the moments that I have done that. And then I feel like, I think we're meant to do this song. And I know it feels weird because we haven't done it in that way before and it's a new thing, but then you bring it and then God is so kind. And then when you just have that moment, you're like, oh, that was it. It was, and it felt right. And so I just love that it's all about like exactly that, inquiring of the Lord, but then also like I do this exactly same thing that I actually got it off JD when I started worship leading. He's like, always bring it to somebody else like that's a little bit older and a bit further along and run it by them. And I do that as well every single time that I lead. And I don't know.
I was hoping Rich was going to use the buzzer at some stage, but when you're doing such a spiritual answer,
it's a little bit hard to interrupt, isn't it?
I was actually trying to give you the eye, like buzzer her, but when she's talking about inquiring of the Lord, you don't really want to cut her off.
No,
inquire of the Lord.
So put it this way, Tay's not going to get cut off at all this whole interview. But
Hang on.
Yes.
All right, next question. I love that neither of you talked about the technicalities of music or about key signatures or anything like that. You both talked about what's going to benefit the congregation, what's going to point them to Jesus, and I guess from the starting place of what does God actually want to do in this time? Because it's so easy to maybe get caught up in the music and to think about that, and we should obviously do that too. But the step before that is obviously to work out what God wants to do. So I give that a 10 out of 10 answer.
Thank you.
Not that I meant to be judging them. All right. How do you find your voice and be confident with it? For example, Taya, should everyone sing Whole Heart like you?
No.
Why not?
Because I'm the only Taya Gorkorja, used to be Smith, but Gorkorja now, in the world.
Yeah.
And so
maybe? Or you know that?
Well, I mean, unless I name a kid Taya, but I probably not going to. Yeah.
Sorry.
And so I'm the best Taya Gorkorja because I'm the only one and I'm the original. And so I think people should sing how God's designed them to sing and to worship. And I feel like obviously there's stewardship in there. And so it's not like I'm just the greatest and so I'll leave it at that. But like actually we're meant to get really good at our craft. We're meant to labor and, I don't know, be a good steward. But I do feel like you got to have confidence in who God's called you to be and who he says that you are and the gifts that he's given you and your character and who you, like all the little nuances that make you and have confidence in that. So sing it how you would.
So then, JD, I know you've talked before when I think we talked on another episode about confidence. And I guess this question from Michelle really speaks to having confidence or growing in what you're describing, Taya, the confidence in who God made you to be. How does someone do that? Like, how do they work out, okay, I'm not Taya, but I am me, and how do I be me rather than
I think
being someone else?
I reckon this could be the answer to any question when it comes to anything that we do as a church and a creative team, that the answer is literally we need to spend more time with Jesus.
Yeah.
Because whenever you do through his word, or whether it be in his presence by, listening to worship music, praying in his word, to be honest, there's nothing about our God that like points the finger at what we're not good at. It's the complete opposite. Whenever we come before God, especially the way that we are, that's how we're accepted. It's not like he's waiting for us to get it all together, to know the right parts, to have the right talent. And so, and the only way to build that confidence is to get closer to him, because you're never going to feel rejected when you draw closer to God. And so I think that's just, I couldn't encourage people more. And I know that's what I've had to do. Like I've had to do that. And I'm so grateful that I have put that discipline in my life. But just kind of a step back practically to answer this question as well, because I've found on my journey a lot of these almost I said practical, so you buzzed me. I like it.
Hey, so great. That was good. If you wanted to know the rest of whatever JD was going to say,
I'm never going to tell you because I'm offended. I not actually. I
was going to say, let us know, and we'll get him on again, and then
we'll wait for season 10 or something like that.
Yeah. You can have a whole episode just answering that one question. Malia says this: how do you care for yourself? I think this is an interesting question. How do you care for yourself when touring, or just have multiple sessions of leading the team, or on a Sunday? I'm paraphrasing, but essentially this is the question. How do you make sure day after day or week after week you can bring your best, and that you're actually in a place to do that? Your voice, spiritually, physically, emotionally, etc.
Taya, I'm forcing you to answer practically.
Okay,
so you have a chance to be buzzed.
Practically, it's a day-to-day thing, which involves the spiritual thing of...
It's impossible for Taya to not answer.
So let's go here. Do you warm up before you...
Yes.
Your voice?
Every time in the car. I have recording of a lesson with my vocal coach, who I don't see enough. I'll be honest, that's like a challenge for me.
Right.
Not like a challenge as in I can't get that, as in a challenge like, Tay, you need more lessons.
Right.
And I warm up every single time in the car before I get to church for my call time, to then warm up with the group.
Yep.
Because each voice is different. There's certain nuances and things in your voice that you need to warm it up specifically. For example, JD and I have different range of voices. He can go incredibly low. He can actually sing high as well, but he needs to warm up that lower part of his voice, which my voice will never reach. So if we were to do the same exercise, I wouldn't be able to join into like halfway, because that's when like my voice would cut in.
Right.
And then you're meant to warm down as well, which I don't a lot, but which I need to. There's just so many practical things.
I think, practically for me, especially because the question was around touring, is I think there's so many times off the platform that you need to look after your craft. As a vocalist, that means when you're talking, to me, I've just had to be disciplined in going to bed, because one of the really, like, I look for the magic pill. I want to find the throat spray, the lozenge, like whatever I can do. And I've got all of them and I've tried everything and I'll continue. But really there's nothing like sleep, rest and water for your voice. So for us, understanding that means, like, Taya has probably more pressure or more responsibility she carries more singing because she's the only girl on tour. So I watch her put herself on vocal rest, and she'll have an app where she won't talk to you. She'll just write the answer, or,
Is that maybe just, sorry, I could maybe ask you, is that because you just don't want to talk to them, or?
I mean, it comes in handy. No. No, it's because it's the same thing of like, you see the schedule, you see the tour schedule, or you're on Sunday and then you've got midweek stuff as well. And then you're like, okay, I have to be good for these things because I've said yes, and I don't believe
it's
in, like...
It's the best when Taya's on vocal rest.
Well, actually, they'll pay me out.
There you go.
They'll pay me out, but I'm not, I can't say anything. And so I can't type fast enough.
How do you not be a prima donna and just go, oh, sorry, can't do that?
Well, firstly, hopefully people would know your heart, know that you take it seriously, and that you, of course, like for me, to be honest, like, that's one thing I've struggled with. I'm a little bit of a people pleaser. So, of course, like, and I know God's going to show up. So I'm like,
just to clarify, she hasn't struggled being a prima donna. I think we all know that. And the best thing about it's obvious, and you didn't mean that, but Taya couldn't be further from a prima donna. But go.
Very kind.
Yeah, so people ask you to do things and you feel the pressure to do them all.
Yeah, because, like, again, like, of course you want to say yes, and then you don't want to let people down, and then you know God's going to show up. So, like, of course I want to be there because I'm like, God's going to show up. That's the best. But then it's also, you know, as life gets fuller, like there's also, like, it's that stewardship thing again, the things that you say yes to, like honoring that as well. And I put my hand up for that. So that looks like, JD said, going to bed early, or actually I can't hang out for dinner because it's going to be in a loud room with music and it's the worst for your voice. And that's the thing that is going to tire it out when you have a 5 a.m. call time and you know you need to spend time with the Lord before that.
Yeah.
So then it ends up being like, I don't know, 3, 4 a.m.
I was
Sorry, I
Done.
had to move on.
Come on. This is the
so
best. We needed this in, like, radio, because
I wish this was
amount of times I'm like, wind up, Taya, wind up. It's like, give me the buzzer.
You may have talked to the guys about that before you got here.
That's funny. Hey, so
It's real.
obviously we're talking lots about vocals there, and some people listening, you know, their thing might not be to sing, but the same applies for like physical life, your spiritual life, right?
100%.
How then, JD, how do you have a discipline around reading the word or around spending time with God personally?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, for me, it's just a priority. In my head, I want to do it at the same time every day before my day even starts, but I find myself failing more times than not. And so it's more of I've tried to less compartmentalize it into my little, like, a box to tick each day, that's not a bad way to approach it. But to be honest, then I found myself doing it for the wrong reasons, or kind of, anyway, you know, all the things that good and bad that can come with that. So for me, it's more of an understanding that I know that I actually can't do what I'm called to do. Yeah. And I'm not talking about being a singer, being in a worship band, being in a church. I actually can't be who God's called me to be without him.
Yeah.
And I think any of us are kidding ourselves if we think the same. But we all still live and act like that. Let's be honest, we are human. But deep down, I just know I can't do it without him. And I never want to leave from that place. And so that means that I've tried my hardest for it to be as short as possible, the gaps between when I spend time with God.
Hey, I didn't even need to buzz you. That was amazing. So I think,
Thanks,
because you guys, I should mention, I guess that question was about, first one from Malia, follow on up from me, but she's asking about touring, and it reminded me that you guys are going to be hitting the road. People everywhere will have a chance to enter into the People live experience, right?
Yeah.
What's planned for that? Do you have anything you can tell us?
I can't even begin to tell you how excited we are. This is definitely going to be, I think, the best trip we've ever done, just because of even the process of recording these songs live. It's a kind of full circle for us, coming back to where it all started, how it all started, why it started. I don't think we got away from the heart and the foundation of that, but I think we had fun doing some studio albums, experimenting, still doing what we do. But I think for us, nothing has felt more right than coming back to this place of songs where still hopefully people enjoy the sound and the musicality of it, but it is raw. There's not a lot of tracks to it. It's just, it's going to be a really fun night. So it's definitely the biggest and longest tour we've ever done. And I think we want to reach people. The album's called People, the tour's called People. It's because I think never has there been a more important time for people to come together. We don't have to agree on everything, but, you know, we understand that we do agree on one thing, one name, and that's Jesus.
Yeah.
And to be able to have a night centered around that where people can come regardless of where they're at, how their day's going, what season they're in, how life is unfolded. We believe that when we come together that we kind of understand who God is, who he's called us to be, and then we leave to actually be able to fulfill that in a greater way because of what God does in our lives together. So that's the heart of these nights. And there'll definitely be some other fun surprises along the way. I hope and expect that people won't regret coming to hang out with us for one of these nights.
And when people are unified and united, God commands a blessing. And so we're just believing that he'll just have his way in these nights and people will walk out blessed and whatever that they needed from God on that night or what God actually wanted to give and impart to people, they'll walk away with that. And we are so excited, like so excited.
I'm not even going to push it.
I made my own.
All right.
I'm like, thank you, hit the buzzer.
If the tour is anything like the night we had at Worship Conference, when we recorded it, then I know people are going to be blessed. And that they might come one way, but they're going to leave lifted up and full of faith. Oops, I did myself.
That was the
That's funny. I got to finish my sentence. How bad?
Awesome.
They're going to leave having had a great night. Anyways, there you go. Hey, it's been so fun hanging out with you guys. Oops, gosh, I'm going to put it down now.
It's a sign. We got to stop.
We got to finish. Thanks heaps. All the best for the album and the tour. And it's fun that you'd be a part of this with me. So thank you.
Thank you.
We're
Thanks
excited.
to anyone who's
Thank
listening.
you.
Everyone that's listening.
Talk soon. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little fun time with JD and Taya. If you're a regular listener, then you'll know that this is a bonus episode because we're currently just on a short break preparing for season 5 of the podcast. But if you're new, hey, I'd encourage you to subscribe so that when we come back with our weekly episodes, you'll be the first to get it and you won't miss out on anything. In the break, though, why don't you check out some of our older episodes, including the 2 that JD and Taya appeared on, and we'll talk to you soon.